Since the fall of man, God has been in the business of restoration, restoring life, healing the broken, and bringing hope to the hopeless. He's a God of new beginnings, turning mourning into joy and death into life. In Mark 5, we find two powerful accounts of restoration. Jairus, a ruler of the synagogue, seeking healing for his dying daughter, and a woman suffering for 12 years with a chronic illness. These two stories intertwined, demonstrated that faith in Jesus has the power to restore all that is lost. Now, when Jesus had crossed over again by boat to the other side, a great multitude gathered to him, and he was by the sea. Mark 5 verse 21. There is an oasis of restoration, and it is found in the presence of Jesus. Everywhere Jesus went, people gathered because they recognized that he carried the power to heal, restore, and deliver. If we desire restoration in our lives, we must gather to Jesus, not just physically, but spiritually through prayer, worship, and devotion. And behold, one of the rulers of the synagogue came, Jairus by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet and begged him earnestly, saying, "My little daughter lies at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her, that she may be healed, and she will live." Mark 5 verse 22 to 23. Jairus was a man of authority, yet his power and influence could not save his daughter. This teaches us that no matter our status, there are problems only God can solve. Jairus humbled himself and sought Jesus, knowing that only the touch of Christ would bring healing. In the same way, we must acknowledge our dependence on God in all areas of life. As Jesus walked with Jairus, a woman suffering for 12 years reached out to him in faith. Now, a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. Mark 5 verse 25 to 26. This woman had tried everything the world had to offer: physicians, medicine, wealth, but none could bring her healing. However, she did not give up. She knew that if she could only touch the hem of Jesus' garment, she would be healed. Lessons from the woman's faith. Faith is action-oriented. She pressed through the crowd to reach Jesus. Faith speaks life. She declared, "If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well." Mark 5 verse 28. Faith draws power. When she touched Jesus, he immediately knew power had left him. Faith moves God. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my clothes?" Mark 5 verse 30. Many people were around Jesus, but only one touched him in faith. There is a difference between casually being around Jesus and reaching out in faith to receive from him. Jesus honored the woman's faith, saying, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction." Mark 5 verse 34. While Jesus was still speaking to the woman, messengers came with devastating news. "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" Mark 5 verse 35. But Jesus' response was powerful. "Do not be afraid, only believe." Mark 5 verse 36. When facing impossible situations, Jesus calls us to replace fear with faith. Faith does not deny reality, but it trusts in a greater truth. God is able. When Jesus arrived at Jairus' house, people were weeping and wailing in despair. But Jesus declared, "Why make this commotion and weep? The child is not dead, but sleeping." Mark 5 verse 39. The crowd ridiculed Jesus because they saw death, but Jesus saw an opportunity for resurrection. He removed the doubters and allowed only those who believed to stay. This teaches us an important lesson. Faith requires the right environment. Surround yourself with people who believe in God's power, not those who will speak doubt into your situation. Then he took the child by the hand and said to her, "Talitha Kumi," which is translated, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." Mark 5 verse 41. Immediately, the girl arose and walked. What seemed like the end was only a setup for a miracle. When faith is activated, what is dead can come back to life. Faith is the key to restoration. The woman's faith made her well. Jairus' faith brought his daughter back to life. Today, God is still restoring, healing sickness, reviving lost dreams, and renewing broken lives. If you are facing an impossible situation, do not be afraid, only believe. Let your faith be like the woman's, persistent, expectant, and bold. Let your faith be like Jairus', willing to seek Jesus and trust his timing. And above all, place your faith in Jesus Christ, who alone has the power to restore all things. Do you need restoration in any area of your life? Come to Jesus in faith. Have you been struggling with fear? Jesus says, "Do not be afraid, only believe." Will you trust even when things seem to get worse before they get better? Let faith rise in your heart today, because God is still in the business of restoration. Lord Jesus, I bring my brokenness to you. I lay my burdens at your feet, trusting that you are my healer, my restorer, and my redeemer. Strengthen my faith, help me to believe even when the situation looks impossible, and let your power be made manifest in my life. In Jesus' name, amen.